Greg,
Good morning. I think it's
look
still
at
morning
with
your
the
time.
in an aurora borealis behind you there.
Yeah, I forgot that was there. I got to change that to something else.
Looks like you're like reading some kind of cult or something, some real estate cult
Yeah,
leader.
it's like the Northern Lights, and one of these days I'm going to actually see them with my naked eye. But no,
Well, that's a good goal. What time of year is it again? Is it the fall?
yep,
Okay, that's a good goal.
I think so.
All right.
I think in the fall, if you're in the lower 48, and you got to be pretty far north. But my daughter has seen them from the edge of the Great Salt Lake, so they do
Okay,
show up there every once in a while.
good.
I just got back from there this morning. I took off at 5:30, and so doing my calendar exercise, the one thing I figured out is that this time is going to consistently be bad. um, is
Tell me about that.
yeah. So our market center does the our ALC and committee meetings. So I'm going to sprint from here to my office to get to our committee meeting on time today, and I barely made it back. If my plane had been at all delayed this morning, that wouldn't have worked. And then a couple weeks from now, I noticed that we do a one-on-one with the team leader. All the ALC members do about once a month, and that is scheduled at Wednesday at 10
Okay,
as a
we could
kind of
definitely
standing
move around our times.
thing.
That's not a problem.
So
Yeah.
so either Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday afternoon's always clear. So all my stuff is over by
Okay.
1. So 2 o'clock or later your time works on Wednesday, or just about anything on Thursday works.
Let me double check here. How's like 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock, you or me?
Oh, it'd be 3 o'clock my time.
Yeah, so that's 2 for me. Yeah, that's good.
That works. Okay.
That'll
Let
consistently
me
work.
let me just double
Yep.
let's just double check that and I'll confirm
Okay.
uh moving it later on today. Just want to make sure I don't have any other conflict. But it looks like it's open right now. I just
Perfect.
want to keep looking in the future and just see how it looks. And if it looks like it's open, then we'll just plug it in there. We'll move that time for starting next week. All right, good. So we start. So you did your calendar exercise. You've obviously been traveling. So did you get far on that exercise?
I got a couple months
Okay,
into it, so I'm pretty much through May right now with the committed stuff, and then filling
good.
in the little rocks that you were talking about will
Yeah,
just be
little
kind of
rocks are
like a
every
weekly
week.
deal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, weekly.
So Sunday night, I take a look at it and say, "Here's where I'm going to drop all this stuff in this week."
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, I'm
So
there.
so when you looked at obviously tomorrow and Friday, because obviously today's you're traveling Monday, Tuesday, today's kind of already set for you. Tomorrow and Friday, what did you
Yeah,
notice when you started filling those in?
let me pop this up here, and I'll show
Yeah,
you
let's see it.
what I've got going. Oh, that drag that whole thing over. There we go. All right. Do you see that?
Just go to the bottom, share screen. You
Oh,
go to
I
the
thought I did.
bottom, the
Yeah.
bottom thing pops up with the up arrow. It says share screen. Do you see that?
Yeah, that's what I thought I just did, but no, apparently
Hit
I didn't. Now,
share, and then you got to do
where
another.
did you go?
You got to
There,
do
oops.
another step.
Oh, there it is. One more
There we
click on
go.
share.
It's
There
coming
we go.
on. Double click to enter full screen. There it is. Perfect. Yeah, right. Okay. So what you're noticing obviously is that we got a lot of white space.
Yeah,
Good. I
yeah.
like white space. I'm not scared of white space because white space is now how
That's where I
you,
fit in because all the rest of the stuff isn't in here yet. It's in there today, and so
yeah,
I'm talking to
yeah.
you, and then I run up and I do this committee meeting, and then I've got to pop by one client's house and do like a 15-minute conversation on the way to the next client that we're doing the Matterport shoot at her listing, so I can get that into the market hopefully tomorrow.
Okay.
And then it's like a freaking 50-mile drive between that appointment and this appointment. That the next one down that says David and Courtney really doesn't start until 5:30, but I
Okay.
need to leave there at 4:15 to make it,
Right.
because I'm
Right.
coming all the way back across the universe. And then I don't know if I told you this or not, but I'm pretty open about this now. I got sober about 17 years ago, and so that
Congratulations.
Chicago group is my home group meeting with my AA group, which I'm probably not going to make tonight because I'll be way out in the boonies with these people right above it.
All right.
But that is actually one of my best lead sources, and it's funny because I can't advertise to them. It's all their word of mouth. When somebody says I need a great agent, they just point at
Yeah.
me, and I come up next. So I need to make sure that I stay in touch with them. I've not been real good in the last few months about making it to this meeting, and so I've got to kind of re-up that. The last time I made it to the meeting, I got this listing that's coming that we're doing the Met
Okay.
report for.
That's
I
awesome.
walked in and she's like, "Oh, I was about to call you today. I need to talk to you." And I was like, "Of course you do."
That's awesome. All right. So it's faith-based, right? I mean, you're a prayerful man. Is that something that's important to you?
More spiritual than
Spiritual,
religious.
religious. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. And I'll tell you that this whole AA experience over the last 17 years kind of taught me the difference between spiritual and religious.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was a very religious person while I was drinking,
Yeah.
and it got me drunk. Getting into the spiritual side of things and actually doing it because I believe it, that got me sober.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah. So I'm a recovering Catholic myself. So
Same here.
that's the way I put
Yep. Yep. Cradle Catholic all the way through. Got my wife to convert. We both bailed out. Nobody goes to church in my family anymore.
it. Yeah.
um,
My my mom was calling me yesterday. She's 84, telling me upset about the Pope dying. And
yeah. No. And then the popes just don't last like they used to. They've cycled through a bunch of them in the last decade.
yeah, I think that they're electing them. They're all in their 80s or something. So they're
Yeah.
all old as dirt anyway. All right. So let's get back to calendar. So I think what the lessons of what you're doing today is going to drive kind of what happens Thursday and Friday. And it's really about what I want to get you into a habit of is mindfulness when you're building your calendar, so that I think
Yeah, it's kind
where
of a one thing exercise. It's like, what's the most important thing I could do? And that's what needs to go in here. What's going to make money? That's the way I've been
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
about
obviously,
this.
yeah, that's the, of course, that's what everybody knows, right? We all know that, right? But the mindfulness piece comes down to um, as you're building your calendar is like, so what's going to happen today that's going to result in you having to do some work tomorrow, so that you say in the listing, is the listing going, are you going to have to input that listing tomorrow or get the information to the person that's going to input the listing tomorrow? So that's going to be something that's going to go on your calendar either Thursday or Friday, right? Once you get the Matterport video back, right? So it's about a mindfulness where I think a lot of people, when we build our calendars, I was in this habit before building my calendar, is I would put something down like listing appointment on Tuesday, and then there'd be some paperwork and other stuff follow up that I know would have to happen sometime later on in the week, because something, and I wouldn't build in later on in the week listing appointment follow up, right? And
Right.
then what would happen
Yep.
is I would have, okay, well, the listing appointment happened then, and then I would build my calendar for Thursday, for example, and then on my Thursday calendar be all this lead gen stuff, but then I'd have to still follow up from that listing from Monday, and I didn't put that in my calendar, and then boom, what disappears is my lead gen stuff, right? So I want you to get into habit of mindfulness of one thing connecting to the next on the calendar and what has to happen. That's kind of when I get into that habit. So
So
yeah, perfect.
this is the 411 environment that I've been using. Um,
Okay.
and so here is like kind of this is just an ongoing to-do list of this is all the important crap, just like you're saying. Don't lose track of
Yeah.
this stuff
Yeah.
because it's there. It
Yeah.
just hasn't actually made it onto so I need to balance this and say, where does this belong on the calendar?
On the calendar. You get it. Okay. Yeah,
And actually get it in.
it's good talking to a pro that knows the drill, right?
Yeah.
It's your 401, it's basically your big why, then becomes your GPS, and then your GPS becomes your calendar. Excuse me, GPS becomes your 411, and your 411 goes in your calendar. it
Yep.
all
And so
flows and ties
here's
together.
that listing of the stuff that's been done. And actually there's a bunch of it. The staging consult is done. It came out
Yeah.
beautiful. The photos have been shot. I've got those. I did send a couple of them back saying fix those. We're doing the Matterport today. Um, I've actually drafted the listing input. I got a couple details to review with her when I see her tonight. She's holding a listing agreement right now. I need to double check her showing instructions for going live with this thing. And then tomorrow we are, and this is on the calendar, we're chasing another couple purchase properties for her. I want to get her pregnant. Um,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
needs
Yeah.
to be absolutely in love with something so that we stay on the market with her house because
Yeah.
this is, I think, going to be a 60 to 90-day listing. It's been a long time since I've had to manage one that long, but
Yeah.
I can see that in the comp numbers right now.
Okay.
So
Good. All right. So we know where this is something you're going to be working on behind the scenes. I love it. I
yeah,
love that how detailed you are with your 4-in-1. This is a perfect. I love this 4-in-1. I like the format too. I like what you're doing there. So that's all good stuff. So keep up doing that. The other piece of the
what's
homework
cool
I
with
want to
that
make
is
sure.
that when I have an operating assistant, I can put
Yeah.
them in here too, and so
There's my next
everybody can
question.
see it and figure it out.
Thank you for the segue because that was my next question was obviously you were traveling, so we didn't have time to do anything to do us in interviews. But I think you said you were going to have a conversation with somebody last week. Was that right?
Yeah, and that did not end up happening.
Okay.
So then I ended up getting caught and jumping out of town, and so
Okay.
that hasn't happened yet. I do have this kid Colin, and he kind of disappeared last week, but that's as much my fault as his. I need to task him to do something, and so that's the touch point. I think this kid's really sharp. He ultimately wants to be a real estate agent. And so
Mhm.
this is kind of an apprenticeship for him, but that's all right.
Right.
I'll use him for a while he's trying to get ready for that.
Yeah.
And then maybe he becomes a team agent for me,
Yeah.
as we roll along.
Right.
Um,
So let's get on your calendar now. Those appointments.
yep.
Right. So setting those appointments. Let's get those appointment sets for the conversation. I gave you another kind of like a weird kind of thing where you were going to call, if you remember, calling somebody else that had a team and talking to their assistant. Right. I just want to go over
Yeah.
that
Well, that's the
again.
call I thought you were making. I was trying to do that, and I didn't. That didn't end up happening.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
uh, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Is
Yeah.
just to do that. And way back in my distant past, I was a corporate recruiter for a short stretch. I was a Navy recruiter to start with, and the Navy taught me sales.
Right.
That was a hell of a close. And then I went
Yeah.
to grad school. While I was in grad school, I hooked up with a headhunter who needed help, and so she would throw off jobs to me every once in a while, and I would go call them, and that was always the drill. As you're talking to him, he's like, "Who do you know that would fit
You
this
know how to
thing?
make
It
this
would be
phone
great
call
and
then.
perfect for
Yeah.
you."
This,
But
this
I just don't say that and let you come to that conclusion. Um,
you know so yeah. So this is a phone call you know how to make. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean this is something you've done before. So let's get on your calendar. Let's go back to your calendar.
where did my mouse go? There it is.
Let's look at
So
tomorrow
forward
morning.
to.
So is there anything else going on tomorrow morning?
So tomorrow morning is that finding the value thing. That's the class I teach at my market center.
Okay.
So
Well,
we
so
got
obviously, okay, I'm can't, it's real small here. It's early. So going down, so it's going to have to be tomorrow afternoon. So let's get an hour tomorrow afternoon on the schedule that just says recruiting calls.
that's going to have to go right here. This is going to have to move to somewhere else.
Okay,
All
now
right.
now I want to tell you this is something that I've learned. It's called the anatomy of a lead gen time hour. So this a time block. So this is the time block you're going to have for recruiting calls, right? So
Yep.
and it's also lead gen. It's lead gen in a way you're lead genning for an
For
assistant,
people. Yeah.
right? So it's the same thing. So um, here's the best practice in that hour. It's the first 20 minutes of that hour you're going to be doing prep. So you've got the hour time block. It's set. The first 20 minutes of that hour, you're going to spend looking up the names and getting prepared to see who you're going to call. So you're going to spend the
Okay.
first 20 minutes of that time block on your computer doing research, finding the teams that, what the successful teams that are outside your market center. Um, and you're going to be looking up those teams and going onto their website and clicking on personnel into their website and finding out the name of their admin because it's there. We all do it, right?
Okay.
So we build our
Yep.
team website out. We put all the people who the people on the team are, and you're going to go find out the name of the person. And you're going to write down their name. You're going to write down their phone number, and you're going to go through and find maybe 3 of those people, maybe
Okay.
4 in the first 20 minutes. The next 20 minutes, you're going to make the phone calls, right?
And hopefully one of the 4 connects. And
Connect,
that's the
yeah,
that's the drill is if I talk to one out of
right,
4 of them, it eats up the balance of the
yep.
hour.
And then the last 20 minutes is your follow up, right? And the follow up would be whoever you didn't connect with, maybe send them a text. Hey, my name's Greg.
Yep.
Looking for an assistant. I just want to see who you might know. And I had some questions that you can help me with. Give me a call back, something to that effect, right?
Gotcha.
The person that you did connect with is maybe sending them a note or lining up where the meeting's going to take place. That's your follow up, whatever follow up questions they may have. Or if they give you, yeah, talk to this person, and then the last 20 minutes you have another name to call because they
Okay.
gave you a lead,
Yep.
right? So think about this every time you're lead genning. Now, so if I'm lead genning, calling, just throwing this out as an example for sale by owners, which is like, I don't know, the thing I like to do least in this life. And I probably haven't called a for sale by owner a very, very long time. But if you were lead genning for sale by owner, the first 20 minutes is you're going through Zillow, whatever way you're going to go look for those names. You're going to find their names, find their addresses, and you're going to find their numbers out, maybe get a little research on them. The next 20 minutes, you're actually going to make the phone calls. And the last 20 minutes, you can do follow up. Maybe send them a letter, write up a handwritten note, book them on the calendar. So you're going to extrapolate that up so that if your lead gen is 2 hours, you're going to just break that up into 3 parts. If it's 4 hours, you just break it up into 3 parts, right? And it doesn't have to be statically 3 parts. Like sometimes it's just most of the time you just getting in there because I've already got the data. I've already know who I'm going to call. I'm just going to mostly make phone calls, but I'm going to spend a little bit of time on the front prepping and a little bit of time on the end. And it's probably not as much. Most of the time it's going to be on calls. So I think
Yeah,
what
I'll
what
roll
what
through the
happens?
script a couple times that I'm going to be running with that too, and just
Yeah,
just
yeah,
kind of bounce it out and say, what am I saying when I call these people?
yeah. And what happens with most people when they set their hour-long time block or 2-hour-long time block to lead gen, no matter what it is, right? They get right into it and they forget the piece that, hey, give me some time here to do the prep work. Give me some time to actually make the calls. Give me some time to do the follow-up. If you're going to go door knocking, there has to be 20 or 30 minutes of prep work to know where I'm going to go, get some information on the property, 20 or 30 minutes of the actual door knocking, and 20 or 30 minutes, especially when I'm door knocking, doing a lot of follow-up, right?
Right. Yep.
So don't forget that piece. Now, as you bring team members on and you're training other agents, you have to train them on the same kind of pattern of that time block, right? So so make sure tomorrow you kind of follow that pattern. I'm going to spend 20 minutes in my first hour on the computer and just searching up names. The next piece is making the phone calls. The last piece is doing some follow up, right?
Perfect.
And so break down the time block that way, right? So how confident on a scale of 1 to 10 do you feel like you're going to make that time block tomorrow, and and if there's something to get in the way of you not doing this task tomorrow?
Good. I'm pretty committed to this one, in
Okay.
particularly that hour because I kind of worked it in. So I'd say 8.
Okay, good. So I want to make sure that when we're looking at tomorrow, that whatever's going on that calendar for tomorrow is already there. There should not be. So as you're thinking through today, because sometimes your calendar has to readjust even by daily. Don't So if your calendar's on there for the week and it can't be like, well, that's my calendar for the week. It's screwed now. So you could just obviously you're going to be adjust the calendar daily, just like you just did, right? You just adjusted
Yep.
your calendar for tomorrow. So think about today. What is going to happen to today or the rest of the day today that might affect tomorrow, and you make sure you make those adjustments so that the only last possible thing that could get in the way of you making that call tomorrow is that you've got your best client that wants to go look at a $2 million property. It's the only time they go see it 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock tomorrow, right? And you're gonna
Right.
go see that, right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I never know what call is coming like that.
Yeah,
But if a money call shows up and says I got to meet with you today, it's going there
yeah,
because
yeah,
because
and
this one's
obviously,
making me money
yeah,
tomorrow, and I need money right now.
yeah, and
So
obviously we're professional enough to work around that. Say, hey, can we go later on in the day because
yeah, I
I'm
mean, I'll
booked,
shoot for
right?
down here and say,
Yeah,
can we go in this
yeah,
evening after you get
yeah.
off work?
We know that. All right. So I just want to make sure that this is something, a new habit that you build on really studying your calendar,
I like
right?
this. I like it's more comfortable than like you were saying. It's like here's the bold method. Let's just block all this stuff out, and it
Yeah,
never
yeah,
worked. And so
yeah,
it was impossible to hold that schedule every day. I was like, they might just not as disciplined as everybody else in the world. I mean, crap, I've only taken this course 18 times, and
yeah. You get it. So I
it's
mean,
still
I
not
literally
working.
just
Um,
literally just changed two things on my calendar this morning for today, right? And I readjusted, but I made sure it was on the calendar and it moved, and what moved made sense, right? So I'm picking my daughter up from after for from volleyball at 5 o'clock today, right? Nothing's getting in the way of that. Nothing
yep.
can because my wife's not getting work home from work till 6, and if I don't get her at 5 o'clock, then there's nobody else to get her. She's
So,
gonna be,
so those events on here, those are the ones you see in red.
there
If
you
it
go.
absolutely has to happen and it can't move and it can't
Right,
do anything else, then it's
right,
going in red. And then
right.
the green ones are the ones that I have some flex and control over that
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
relocate them if I needed to. The yellow ones are kind of personal time. And then
Uh-huh.
as we go to start like traveling again, I got to go back up to Salt Lake City
Right.
for a day next week. I was up there trying to get some stuff repaired on the condo we live in, and
Yeah.
it didn't all happen. And so I got to go follow up with those guys on Monday next week.
Yeah.
So I'm flying late Sunday night, that
Okay.
red flight down here. I'll be all day in Salt Lake City on Monday, and then I have this red flight back.
Okay.
And so what I don't have is like somewhere about 9 o'clock here is a plumber coming over to try to fix a water heater.
Yeah, put it in.
And
Put it in right
what's
now.
that?
Yeah. Go ahead. And
And
then where's your exercise time?
that's not in here yet either.
Yeah,
Um,
let's get that on. Let's make sure we get exercise time on there. Do you normally do exercise, or is this something new habit that you have to build?
no, normally I do. I either walk a lot
Yeah.
or cycle, and
Put
it's
put
all my favorite pastime is getting to a mountain somewhere and going hiking.
yeah.
I thought I
Yeah.
was going to do that in Salt Lake City yesterday, and it ended
Right.
up happening.
And then
Um,
put your daily walks around the neighborhood on there. That has to go on. That's something big for you. So let's get those. Sometimes they're going to happen in the morning. Sometimes you got to get to the office early, and sometimes they happen later in the afternoon. But let's get those on there too, as well. Daily walk. No, no.
one of the things hiding behind all the other things. All right,
You
so
know.
where is the repeat thing here? That should be on the 28th. And then every weekday. There. And that is one that I'll time block out and see how that works. Because if I can do that consistently first thing in the morning,
Yeah. Yeah.
then it'll happen. And if not, the
Yeah.
rest of the day is going to crush it.
And you could drag those cells correctly. Do you know
Yeah.
that? You could.
Oh no.
So
Just grab one and pull it
yeah.
across.
So just grab it. So go to the first where you have your daily walk. Thursday the first. Go to the right. There you go.
Here.
Now click on it and drag it anywhere. So now you move it.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Oh, it's a recurring event, so that's why it won't move. Like go to one that's not reoccurring.
Oh, one that I control. Let's see.
Yeah. Take that.
Test.
You could just drag it
Yeah.
down, up or down. See that?
Yep.
Boom. Now you can move it back.
Where were you? You were about here.
Yeah. So that now, if we go back to come back to this week again, go back a week.
I got too far back. I did.
Too far back,
Here we go.
right? So that if tomorrow where you put the recruiting calls, if something comes up at 1 o'clock on the recruiting calls, you could take and drag that down. There you go. See that?
Yeah, I knew
That's a
they
that's
drug
a
up and down the day. I didn't realize you could drag them across to
you could drag them anywhere. Yeah. So that now so here's where the habit comes in. Here's another habit form I want you to build. If something comes up tomorrow at 1 o'clock that you can't make those calls and you have to put something else in there, drag that somewhere else. Drag it to Friday, drag it to later on in the day, so that it's still on your calendar.
which is what I should have done with this one. This is an
Yeah.
important one as well. For me personally, that LH is Lake Highlands. It's the community where my investment property is that isn't moving
Okay.
right now. And
Yeah.
I've started networking with the other agents that have active stuff going. And I was like, you know what? I need to go back a year, find everybody that's either helped somebody buy or sell in that neighborhood for the last year and say, who you got left over and
Right.
get them in here and let's get this thing going.
Right.
So,
Perfect. So now we know we got some new habits to build. We got some new methods to make that happen. And I think the discipline really just comes in by habit, right?
yeah,
So you've probably heard this before from AA. There's really no such thing as discipline. Discipline doesn't exist in human beings. It's all habit, right? It's
right.
just that I built a habit, right? So I built a habit that not going to, abuse my body by on this hour, that this next hour that comes up. My new habit is not going back to my old patterns. I'm going to do a new thing. And all I have to do is worry about this next hour, right? I mean, sure, they taught you that in AA in the beginning. Just worry about the first hour, then it just it elongates out. And it's all because you built a new habit for not doing what you did before, right? So the willpower that you have now is all built around discipline. And that's why you went probably in the beginning, I bet you went to meetings every day and you did things very mindfully every
Yep.
day, right?
For like a year. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then now
And
you don't have to do a meeting every day, right? Just like you are feeling really confident that if I don't go to this meeting later on today, I'm not going to stumble tomorrow. I'll be fine because I've already built a habit out so that this works, right? So now your meetings are more built around like just reinforcing the habit every once in a while, and then camaraderie, like you said, building your business, which is
yeah,
fantastic. So
yeah,
I
right.
love that.
Um,
Yeah. So this is your new calendar AA.
yeah,
So your work habit AA.
and I need that too because
Yeah.
where the habit that I didn't have is to actually look at this every morning
Yeah.
and kind of reset my brain of this is what's happening today.
Yeah.
And so consequently, I do things like with you saying, okay, yeah, that time should work. And then I go to do this calendar exercise. And I'm like, there's no way in hell this is going to consistently work.
There you
About
go.
every other week, I'm going to be calling you saying, I can't make this today.
You get it.
Um,
You get it.
and
Okay, so I know you already showed me your 1,000 screens that you're dealing with, like you're launching the next spaceship. So
yeah.
in front of you. So one of your screens should always have your calendar up so that you're always glancing up. You know what's going to happen. You know what happens next, and so that you already don't know. You could also set alarms on those
Oh
times
yeah,
too.
and that's the only way that things
Yeah,
consistently show up, and it's
yeah,
if I remember to put that alarm at the right time. It's defaults to 10 minutes, right?
yeah.
And so sometimes when you get a 10-minute warning, you're like, oh crap, I've missed that. It's an hour away from where I am right now.
All right.
So setting that right to begin with is another deal.
Okay.
So
Lastly, before we go, because I would be remiss if I didn't say this. Somewhere on that calendar, on Friday, are you here Friday? Or you're traveling? When are you leaving?
I'm
So,
here.
okay. Somewhere on that calendar on Friday has to be a couple of hours. You just call in your database and checking in on people,
Yep.
right? You know that because this is an environment right now with the way that our businesses are going that we have to do double down on everything we've done before. I know like everybody, including myself, um, after years of doing this business and a lot of different marketing tools that we had, my phone would ring. Now my phone doesn't ring as much. It rings rarely, right? So I have to be the one to make the outbound phone calls. So
This
let's
this
the
week
next.
has been the exception to that, but that's pretty
Yeah,
much been my year is that the phone's just not ringing. But all of a
yeah,
sudden I look up and I've got two more listings coming and I've got four active buyers
right.
right now, and everybody wants me at the same time. And I'm like,
Think
that's just the way this always goes.
it
And
does. And quite
I was,
frankly, you made the phone ring because you showed up at those meetings, right? Because you
yep.
said the phone rang on that other one because you showed up at that meeting. So there has to be a correlation to something to lead gen.
And
So something you could do on Friday, very simply, is get 2 hours of making phone calls on there. Just check in with some of your past clients and ask them, the question, who do you know? Right?
yeah,
And what's going on in the market. Get people to, it's a terrible time to move right now, Greg. No, it's a fantastic time to move right
and,
now.
and it won't ever get any better than it is right
Right.
now. Prices are
Yeah.
only going to go up. So
Yes. There
the,
is there is a lot of evidence, and this, of a lot of pent up demand. There's a
yep,
lot of pent up demand. There's 75% of people who own homes right now have mortgage interest rates below 5%. That's why everybody's sitting. At some
yep.
point, they're
It's
all
slow. It's a self-correcting problem, and
yes,
slowly that
yeah,
number will drop down.
yeah,
And the pitch that I've been given to people that have told me that is that, okay, so the real estate values are going to keep going up. The interest rates are going to do whatever they do. So you may have a
yes,
little bit of a tough period right now. The big question is, what's it worth to you to have the life that you want to lead?
yeah,
Right?
and
What
show them
you're
the
telling me right now
stats
is that
that
your house doesn't
right.
work. And so
And-
if this was perfect, what's the
yeah,
value of that?
and you can show them stats there right now about people willing to negotiate. There's stuff on the market longer. Now's your time to buy. And I'll leave you with this: out of the 75% of those homeowners who have homes that are below 5%, where the husband is saying we're not moving at this interest rate, there's a wife on the other side going, we need a bigger house, we
Yep.
need a bigger yard. So
Yep.
eventually that dam's going to break and the wife's going to win, and that's the people you got to call right now. All right.
Indeed.
All right. Well, you have a
I'm
great
like,
week, and I'll move our calendar definitely for next week, and then I'll look at going forward, moving it for in perpetuity.
okay.
All right, Greg.
The one thing we didn't get to today, and I'm gonna send you some stuff, is I also spent some time while I was in Salt Lake City and I had some think time up there to start framing out the investment company that I'm running and saying,
Please
really,
send
what
that
is
to me.
the
Yes,
mission, the vision, the values that I want to run? What's our target? What's the story behind this thing so that I can
send me
start
your
explaining to
notes.
other people this is what I'm doing.
Thank you very much. Send me your notes.
Yep,
Appreciate that. Thanks,
I'll
Ben.
do that.
Have a good week.
All right, you too.
Bye.